Okay, so we are live. I'm just switching on the recording button. Right. So if you're watching me online, give me a hi, hello, and tell me if I am audible, visible. Okay, so we are live. I'm just myself here switching on the. All right. So today we are on day 13. Welcome to Unlocking EQ Brain Skills for 100 Days. And we are on day 13. And if you're watching me live, give me a hi, hello, and just tell me if I'm audible, visible. With that note, I hope you're gaining insights about emotional intelligence as a subject and about your left brain and right brain, more of on the skills per se, or on the insights, how to approach daily challenges on different topics in different aspects of life. So approaching emotional intelligence through brain skills, it's a fresh perspective, and it's very easy and relatable for busy moms like us, juggling roles. Also, well-being is equally important, and pandemic is lined up, and then currently we are in mental health pandemic. It is all the more important that we should be equipped with emotional intelligence skills. So, irrespective of any role, any gender, in fact, any age also, it is equally more important that all of us should be emotionally literate and should have decision-making capacity. Um, it should be a smarter choices in life. It should help us be aware of our own self and people around us. In the fast-paced world today and highly competitive and highly technology driven, it is equally important to also take care of emotions behind it, because when you are smarter with your emotions, then you are emotionally intelligent, right? With that note, I'm going to share my presentation today, and let's see what's the topic for today. We are unlocking 100 days of EQ brain skills, and day 13 is about critical thinking. You all know how critical thinking is important, right? It's critically important, right? So if you want to make better decisions in half the time, that means you need to master some superpower skills, right? It is not superhuman skills. It is very much possible. It is humanly possible. It is just that you need to apply, um, you know, the left brain and right brain has to be blending and fastly working for you. Efficiency of the brain determines a lot of output from our, whichever aspect of life you are in, whether you're at home, cooking in the kitchen, or working for a team, or a successful leadership. Efficiency matters a lot. And for you to efficiently make decisions or be able to move forward even after the setback, determines how capable you are exercising the left brain and right brain skills. Essentially, emotional intelligence skills, it is also not just the academic qualifications, it is also the behavioral component, and it is the ability to manage themselves well, in order to manage the time, in order to manage people around us, in order to manage our own self, our own resilience, to be able to bounce back. Every other time that we are having a setback, or something happens in life and life takes over, how agile are we, to bounce back to normalcy? Apart from the climatic conditions, apart from the nature giving us setbacks, or the man-made setbacks, life also takes over, and we should all be ready to be able to encounter and move forward. In order to do that seamlessly well, not leaving any residue, not forcefully, emotional intelligence skills will definitely help you at ease. So we are on day 13. We have been discovering a lot of topics under this EQ brain skills. And we have discussed about resilience in depth, logical, emotional, in all aspects of life. How can you be a resilient leader? How can you be a resilient parent? How can you be a resilient entrepreneur? Um, and then we also saw adaptability, thinking ability, and flexibility. How we need to have that adaptability quotient working in you constantly, so that you will be able to navigate the challenges really well. And we also saw how emotional insights coming in place, because when you are dealing with people around us, it is equally important to learn those cues in order to um, manage, embrace everybody on your journey. And we also discussed about apart from that, yesterday or 2 days before, we started off talking about problem solving skills. How quickly are you able to look at a problem, analyze the problem, and be able to derive a solutions? Today, we're talking about critical thinking, which essentially is those components which is making you an effective, helping you to make an effective decision making. If you have critical thinking, but you are not able to solve the problem, then it's not going to be worthwhile. If you can solve the problem without applying the critical thinking, it's not a, real time, the problem will keep popping in. It's not actually fixed yet. So you see, everything is connected. When you want to solve a problem and when there are people involved in it, if you don't have an emotional insight, neither about yourself, what's going on within you, what are your needs and wants, and whom are you dealing with, and what are their desires, likes, and dislikes, and what is the win win solution, then it is not problem solved yet. It will definitely pop up. You see how everything is connected. Now, when we talk about resilience, you just cannot be firefighting all the time, solving the problem, right? You need to take a breathe, take a pause, take a break, and when life, pressurize, when stressful moments happens, you need to be able to bounce back to be able to solve problems again. So it's not humanly possible to keep on, firefighting all the time. So there could be a setback for anybody. We are all human being at the end of the day, and bound by nature, bound by life. So it is highly important how you take care of your physical health, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial productivity. So any of these dimensions, get trained or it's not been taken care, it will definitely pull your resilience level. And be able to bounce back, it's equally important. So if you've not been watching these episodes, I would highly recommend you to go through the episodes with a great presentation. If you're visually oriented, then YouTube Live will work for you. If you're auditory, if you want to listen to all this skills and apply, then on the fly, on the go, you can listen to podcast and Spotify. The same versions, the same topics have been posted there. And if you are a very textual article person, blog reading person, the EQ competencies have been drafted in a storyfied format in a platform called Substack. I'll share all the links below so you can enjoy learning and enhancing your brain skills. Okay, let's see what is critical skill, critical thinking. Now, objectively analyzing information and assessing different perspectives to make informed decisions. That is called critical thinking. Where is this left brain and right brain coming here? Logical reasoning for data analysis. Okay, that is important because when you're critically thinking, you're just not looking at the emotions part of it only. At the same time, what about right brain creativity? Creatively exploring multiple options also. Yesterday, we saw for you to solve the problem effectively, you need multiple options as well. So we saw an example of you getting into a mobile showroom. Okay. Suppose they only have two models, very few models to show you. You'll be crunched to take a decision, right? Whereas if you just jump onto Google search, the Google will give you n number of options. So on that way, your decision making will be informed. So you won't feel guilt or you're not feeling dearth of information about it. So it is equally important to create multiple solutions. How can you create those options for in your decisions? Mobile showroom could be an option created by somebody else, right? A lot of vendors playing in the game in the market. But for you in your life decisions, for you in your team, in your organization, you got to create those options. Each and every transactions, each and every time that you want to solve a problem, if you can creatively think options, it'll definitely be there. But then there are intangible skills that you need to have, things like optimism, things like motivation, to be able to bounce back and think through, no, I believe there should be something. because I logically saw last time there was uh, an availability of that kind of a resource, or there could be something happening in that area which we didn't address last time. So, you see how you keep going back and forth. The ability to put you in a jail is resilience. And we also saw how emotional agility also will help you get into the effective decision making. So we have seen good amount of strategies in the previous episodes, so it'll be good for you to go through those. So for today, critical thinking is actually both brain. I love when it comes to activating both the brains, because that's where the midbrain gets activated, and that is exactly where we're calling ourselves as emotionally intelligent, right? But that doesn't mean that you constantly have to be in midbrain. Sometimes when you're in a board meeting and when you're presenting for a financial conference, you need to be behind numbers. You just cannot go with emotions there, or creatively think, produce something. There has to be realistic facts and figures. Okay, it cannot be an estimate there. At the same time, when you're dealing with family, okay, you cannot play around with numbers over there, data, metrics, presentations and all that. It has to be one on one. It has to be heart to heart, not much of a head. Okay, sometimes even gut. Maybe you're planning for a vacation, so you got to think out of the box. Again, critical thinking will definitely help there. So we will see all those where you can apply this skill, in all dimensions of life. We'll see that in a bit. Okay. Let's see the importance of critical thinking. Now, without it, what's happening? Suppose you don't have that much data. I told you, imagine you don't have options. You will not know what is, available on earth for this kind of thing. It may not be in adverse situations. It can still be simple situations at home. Suppose you are deciding school for your kid, okay, and you're running out of options, or you do not know how many schools are available in your society itself, in and around you. If you're not gone through that research, and if you only can see one way, one direction, and then say this is the best thing, then it is not a effective decision. You need to get into that smartness to understand, to get into that level playing field, to ask more information, to seek more facts and figures, use all those resources that's available in your hand. That means you've put some brain and put some thinking onto it. Then if you're making a decisions, you will not find any guilt, or you don't feel inadequate about it. And most importantly, it will serve the purpose. It will not make the people around you suffer. Neither you will suffer in terms of, it could be time, loss of energy, money, resources. It could be many things for many people. So with it, you can, without it, actually what's happening, decision based on incomplete information or emotional biases also lead to poor outcomes. Most of the time, emotional biases can happen in, when impulsive decisions are taken, or the decisions taken due to FOMO, right? Right now, we look at the social media, or we look at our neighbors, our friends. If our friends, children are going to a particular class or hobby, then it is important that you also have to make your child go. Whether the child likes it or not, whether you like it or not, whether the family needs or not, that's not important. But it is important that you need to play level up with your friends, so that you are not left out. So that's not the way how it works, right? It'll eventually show up. In fact, you need to be critically thinking whether the child requires this or not, whether the child can take this or not. You need to understand the distance, money factor in it, whether the family values are aligned or not. What is the long-term effect of this? All these are important. And it's not that we are not doing it. We are, we have this wisdom in us. Are we aware of these things that is needed? See, moms are naturally gifted because the life puts them into that position. It's the same thing with the people who are going for work. The atmosphere is like that. It is important to make using their their thinking has to be expanded. The brain has to expand according to the environment. So the awareness is equally built. So none of us are in dearth of all these skills. But the only difference is, are we able to recall these skills? Is it coming to our rescue when it is needed? For which you need to be aware that this is what it is. This is the strength in you. This is the area of improvement. So you should be working on it daily. It's not that weekend you will work on and off, you will work and you expect that skill to come to you at your rescue when it's needed. It's not going to come. It's like going to gym day in and day out. You need to work on it. That is exactly why the series of education. And with these skills, when you are going to work on these skills, what's going to happen with critical thinking? You're going to be smarter, more efficient decisions, considering all facts and avoiding impulsive reactions. That's the main thing, right? Especially when the festive season is going to happen. In US, Thanksgiving is going to be a huge thing. So we are just going to, nearing Thanksgiving in few weeks' time. You must see the craziness happening. Even myself, when I'm talking like this, sometimes even I get tempted, right? But last year, what we did was, while I'm working on myself in all these skills, whatever worked for me is what I'm teaching you here. So I am constantly working on myself and I'm becoming aware of my own impulsiveness. Okay. Especially with shopping. Being a mother, being a woman, I I was just able to come over the impulsive shopping for forever. It's like it's been high time that I open my Amazon or open my shopping app and then did any online shopping so far, except for the uh, things that the family needs. So it'll be an automated thing. So it's on subscription and it just keeps going and coming. That's it. Anything new is something that I always take a note of it and I wait for those occasions to come and I plunge on it. So the last year, I still remember, while all our friends were making it, it's a grand thing, right? They wait for that occasion and then they have a huge list. So one of my friends, she was sharing her eyes just popping out because she was on the laptop looking for deals after deals for the last 1 week. And she said, no, I'm so tired. I'm not even stepping out on that day of Thanksgiving because usually it'll be before pandemic it used to be fun that they will people keep standing in the queues at 5 a.m., 3 a.m. because they'll get a coupon and it's a good coupon. It's a good deal actually. Speaking, we love it actually because Thanksgiving is it's more of very lavish and very smart shopping actually. If only you plan it really well and you need to be really stretching on that day. But right now, what's happening is they are opening the Thanksgiving because of the rush happening. They are opening it prior to the that day, so it's opened all throughout the month. So people are mostly doing online. They are just taking care of it online. So this friend of mine was telling that, and then the other friend of mine, as a family, they are ready to step out on that day early in the morning. So when we were discussing, actually, we never had a particular list and then even though we had that list, it was very refined and very conscious that this is what we need. Because with with my daughter and with my husband and myself, we all three of us we did the wardrobe audit before Thanksgiving. We did all that, and we knew exactly what kind of essentials that we want. So we did that, and for my kitchen, I clearly know what are the gadgets I want. So I went with the list. I had that notes in my hand with Apple Notes, exactly those items. And in fact, for an adventure sake, we flipped the schedules going, the on the previous day. Usually we go on the previous day. And on that on exactly on that day, we all thought, okay, why not go on the mornings? Just not waiting for the queue for the coupon, just to see how people are. So we've never been there. We've been here for more than 7 years now. So we want to see that craze, how it is happening. So we all got up at around 4:15 and then we stepped out. Um, that entire day we were outside. So we had super fun. We saw the complex really empty, and only during those morning hours people were standing outside. And then right now people have become very aware and they're not behind all the deals. But it used to be really crazy, it seems. And right now a lot of online thing is going on. So impulsive shopping is the killer. Impulsiveness is the killer killer enemy for decision making. In order to avoid all that, there has to be a critical thinking. So, um, so this was a classical example where we all get tempted. Even we were tempted on that day. But then since we all three of us were aligned, and then I was very conscious. Even when right before me, my own things were lying in that thing, but I had a conscious effort of taking what is needed. And we were really happy that it was cost effective, it was time effective. At the same time, we saved our energy. We had a good fun the entire day, and it was another reason for us to step out. Okay. So when critical thinking, when decision making happens, this was a huge transformation for us. So I thought I'll share this, example. And what is the advantage of this? Again, smart decisions, making more informed and logical choices, not having that guilt, right? After you take that kind of decisions, and certain things you cannot go back, repair in it. Then that leave you to a guilt all the time. Increased creativity, yes. You are considering multiple perspectives for innovative solutions. In our case, we did that audit, so we kind of know what we want, and we were telling ourselves that there'll be a consequence. We gave each other in terms of a monitor, a check-in. My husband will check in for me, and then I will check in for him and the daughter and all that, so that we will watch our pattern right after we buy that. What are we going to do? Are we going to use it or not? So we have been watching ourselves in the last 6 to 8 months prior to that. So while we know our patterns that we have not been using certain things, so when we wanted to buy, we were clearly checking on ourselves. No, that's not the thing that we really want. So it comes in practice, it comes in with a lot of acceptance, okay, in order to avoid the impulsiveness, and also reduced bias. Avoid decisions based on preconceptions. Although we know we have friends like this, I mean, it's different people, different expectations. But we use that opportunity for an adventure's sake, just to see how US will be on that day. So otherwise, we never had any other bias. But most likely, the FOMO and fear of missing something, the insecurity of not being able to, do what other people are doing, those are the reasons where that impulsiveness happens. But when you critically think about it, in order to make sure that you're adding metrics like whether it's needed or not, time, money into it, the reason for it, the intention behind it, the utility for it, all those factors are enabling you to critically think. And then when it comes to disadvantages, if you don't have what, I mean, this is not exactly disadvantage, but this is a disadvantage when you overdo it. Because instead of saying if you don't want, that is exactly what we saw advantages. But then I want to give an insight about what happens when you overdo this. It is going to be time consuming. If we keep on thinking about it, not able to take action, why are we why are we enabling critical thinking? Because in order to make ourselves decide something and act on it. But if you keep on thinking and evaluating, it is going to be time consuming. Making, may take longer than quick decision making in high pressure situation, especially, right? When you want to decide whether to move this side or that side during the signal, you need to be critically thinking quickly. You got to be agile. You just cannot wait forever to think which direction you want to take. Maybe you can even plan before that, but at sometimes you might have to take that decision on the spot. And over analysis. So risk of analysis paralysis, overthinking occurs every time. Most of a person who's their bubble is like, that way. Why am I showing this side? Is because evaluative is logical thinking. So the left brain is, if the bubble or the pattern of that person is extremely left driven, so it is hardwired for them to bring it to the midbrain so that they will be able to swap or move to the right side creativity thing. So you need to be working on it. Analysis paralysis helps you. Of course, it gives you that comfort zone of you to think about what is the consequences, but you just cannot go on forever. And emotional detachment, focusing on logic might overlook emotional aspects of taking decisions also. Because when people are involved, it is important to take their likes and dislikes and considering what is their long term, short term, for all the people involved in it. It is just not you, right? Critically thinking in the workplace. Sorry, guys, I think my eyes are got eaten up, so tears are coming in. But anyway, I'm just all with my blood, tears, sweat. I'm doing this series because it's live. It's okay, I can manage. Okay, let's see what's critical thinking in the workplace means. It means it only means that improved decision making. So when you can think at your feet, it is important that if you're a leader, it is a great ability because people look up at you and you are a direction focus for them. It is important to have that kind of ability. And it also enables you to make an improved decision making because employees with critical thinking skills are 70% more effective in decision making roles, according to survey. That only means that they have thought through enough. So they may have a contingency plan, they may know what is the consequences, they may have had a replay of what's going to be plan A, plan B, plan C, or whatever it is. Okay. And then resource management. Analyzing data and trends, previous trends to save time and resources, it's equally important. I've told you this example of Jeff Bezos, his way of picking up recruitment, recruiting high potential people, high stake, decision makers at that level is he always looks at the person's decision making skills in terms of considering their pattern of taking critical decisions in their life. How many times have they done that and what are the failures, what are the success? It's the pattern that they had seen. It's the trend, it's the number of times that the decision making had come. It's not about it's just not about solving the problem. It is the pattern. So I heard this about 12 years before, and I was so um, amazed to see how important it is to have to enable this competency in you to take decision making quickly. But for you to take a decision properly, all these are important components. Okay. Project optimization, identifying the areas of improvement and adjusting the strategies also. Adaptability also has to kick in. If you're very rigid that this is what you're going to do and you're not going to change based on the feedback and all that, you're not going to review and all that, then you are stuck. You're not actually critically thinking because anyway, it'll loop you into another problem. So who needs this? Practically everyone. But high stake professionals definitely need this because they need to be on their feet constantly making high stake decisions at work. And if even entrepreneurs, considering the market situations or customer demands, product launch or AI driven, technology driven, adaptability is even more important. And critically pivoting is also important. You just cannot, a lot of things that you cannot reverse back. So you should have applied critical thinking before that. And parents. So what about parents? You and me, as a busy mom or dads, what about them? Critical thinking, how important it is, very important in terms of raising children. And it is evolving. It's just not happening at one stage alone for a toddler. You may think that toddler is not required, you don't have to put your brain. At elementary level, you don't have to even squeeze your brain for your children. It's not that way only for academics. It is for life also. It is for daily basis. Critically you may not critically think for your preparation for your daily preparation because it's an autopilot, mostly it's a routine. But sometimes people dynamics is different, likes and different people needs different strokes. It is important to think through and take decisions. Okay, what is needed for tailor made and customer made. And then family, I just spoke, parenting, important decisions, child raising, finances also, spending habits, considering long-term goals, and informed decisions. And then planning activities that also balances everybody needs and interest. And how do you approach this? So questioning assumptions. Identifying assumptions is important. First of all, what is assumptions? We need to be aware whether we are assuming only or we are very clear about it. Most of the times the illusion is we will be very clear about our assumptions only. And we will be rigid to understand that it is just an assumption. Or sometimes we are not ready to listen to other people's assumptions. We just discard saying it's just an assumption. Recognizing what you're taking for granted in a situation is equally important. And it is important in family also. especially with spouse, especially and the children also. You just cannot say their age is not that way, so they are just assuming, so you also assume and go. They may really have their own pointers. And then challenge the belief. Ask hold why you hold those beliefs, and even if they're still valid. It's a bulb on for me. The case study that I've taken, you will immediately relate. For the personality is synonymous to this. Challenging belief system is important to within your own self. Maybe something is really working well. Even then, it's not a thing that we're asking. It's not a thing that you will deliberately go and challenge it, but you need to review to be able to see whether it is the appropriate thing that you're doing on it. And then seeking evidence. So looking for facts that support or contradict your assumption is also important. So you are adjusting thinking behind, um, if you do not have that ability to look for it, if you think I'm right always, then you won't think extra. So you should always have that open-minded to see there's always a possibility, either to be on right or to be on the other side, so that you will plan alternative for it. But you just cannot dwell on only thinking about it. Then you will negatively be sitting on it all the time. Adjust your thinking, be willing to change your mind based on the new information that you're gaining. So for that, you need to be able to take brainstorming, take multiple perspectives, be open to change. Exactly. Considering multiple perspectives. So identifying stakeholders in it and then take their perspective, their consideration, because what if they have a say in their decisions? And then you just cannot go back. So it is important to consider prior before you arrive at a decision. List all the parties affected by the decision. It is so very true with family also. It is not like child can be taken granted. After a child comes to a mid school level, right? After 6 or 7 years, they have their own personalities. So if maybe now they are listening to you, but most of the heated conversation, most of the tantrums are caused because they have not been able to be heard and understood. Apart from the hormonal thing that is going on in each of us, that is a different thing that the child or the adult has to handle. But rest of the things that happens on the surface is only because of problem created by the parents and the child themselves or the people around them. So that can be solved by taking multiple perspectives, empathize, trying to understand them, each stakeholder's point of view, and evaluate the impacts, consider how the decision is going to affect them also, and then synthesize, combine that insights to make a balanced decision. Then it is definitely going to be an informed decisions with reduced intensity of consequences. Maybe it need not be a perfect decision taken, but at least that way you have thought through, and so it is reduced. Maybe the money spent, less money will be spent, or less time consumed, less energy consumed. That itself is a win. And then the next one is analyzing evidence. So once you have such evidences in you, like you have a past trend summaries, or you take a report and you have an estimate what's going to happen in future, so you're gathering all that data. That is what will let you think critically, right? Without data points, how can you keep on thinking? It's just not an imaginary one. That is where your logical brain should help you to get the data, facts, figures. So you're going to get the relevant information from reliable sources and evaluate sources or access the credibility and biases of each sources. So your decisions cannot be blindly because one of your friends, you saw her doing, so you're deciding to do that, or you want your child to do that. That is a biased based decision. Where is the credibility? What is the logic behind it? See, the logic brain will also kick in. Looking for patterns. As I said, Jeff Bezos looked for patterns. How far this person has been taking this ability, exercising this ability of taking decisions, identifying trends, connections in that data, and then drawing conclusions, considering everything, both the logical and the emotional evidences. So, creative thinking in critical analysis. How, critical analysis is the logic thing. In that, also, you can creatively think. How? You should brainstorm. It is not always from your side. Make use of the super brain around you, for which you should be able to, only then you will get multiple options. As I told you, without multiple options, it's not an informed decisions. Mind mapping is another tool. Role playing, yes, that's a best and easiest way mental activity. If you can just play role swapping with your child to see what kind of perspectives they will have. You will be a child one day, and then the child will be the mother one day. You will see how beautifully they will evolve, and you will also get a lot of insights about them. And evaluating consequences is also important. Look at the metrics here. So it should not always be short term. It should be a long term vision also. It could be a you know the now effect of immediate effect, or it could be having a future implications. It can be for quick wins. It needs to be for a sustainable benefits. It can be to the problems or the decision making can be to quickly recover from temporary setbacks. But then you have to critically think for lasting effects also. Maybe this is just a one of the incident. Or what if this repeats? That's where you are applying critical thinking. So to avoid that or prevent that, and being open to change, acknowledge the uncertainty. Recognize that you don't have all the answers. That is why brainstorm. That is why take multiple perspectives. Embrace learning, few challenges as opportunities to grow. Adapt quickly. Be willing to pivot when new information arises. Celebrate flexibility. Reward yourself for being adaptable. Now it's my best section of this series, that we do research on certain personalities where they stand synonymous to the skills that we are discussing. Elon Musk is so relatable and synonymous to critical thinking, right? All of us know that he's a CEO for Tesla, SpaceX. Recently he came, he founded Neuralink company, and Twitter. He's got in Twitter now. It's X platform. So many things he's doing, right? Um, he's an investor. He's a serial entrepreneur. He initially started with PayPal, so he's been in the industry for a long time, and he's synonymous to, you know, challenge the belief system. Imagine, he has invented. No, I'm so sorry. Imagine the objective of SpaceX. He's doing phenomenally well. He's challenging the entire conventional. He's challenging the NASA for its conventional, belief system. So SpaceX is coming up huge in a way to bring a revolution in the airspace. So similarly, questioning assumptions. Musk challenges conventional thinking in the automotive industry initially when he started, and that is why the battery cars had come. Tesla had was discovered. And analyzing data. So Tesla uses data driven strategies to stay ahead in the market constantly and thinking creatively. So Musk combines electric vehicles with a cutting edge technology. That is also equally important to you remember, right? We just spoke about the metrics. It is not just a temporary one, it is a long time sustainable effect. So look at his vision. That's the right brain. He has foreseen what is the future, and then he has done that something in the present. So how beautifully the left brain and right brain works, right? And then some inspirations for you. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. That is challenging assumptions. But not we're not going to end up not accepting it at all. Somewhere we have to converge. But it is that audacity to challenge that belief, not to create any vengeance, but you know, it's a very highly educated and highly matured thought process. So back in India, India used to be very rich in education, and the uh, highest brains, highest highly educated brains, evolved brains, people used to come and study in a university called Nalanda. Nalanda is no more. Due to the invasion, it was destroyed. But the brains, super brains who gathered in Nalanda was this kind of people where they challenge themselves. So back in India, there was always a culture of questioning each other on everything around them, on the system, on the process, on the people, on the belief system. That's how rich was our culture. It is not to put anybody down. It is not to create enmity or war. It is about healthier way to arrive at a situation where it is win-win for everybody constantly, because time changes, people change, things around change. So we need to be constantly updated and upgraded, for which somebody has to, you know, constantly questioning the status quo. But that doesn't mean that it is going to give the unsettled feeling, right? People have to be peaceful also. So you just cannot keep the government changing every year and there. So that is why there is a term of 4 5 years. That itself is not enough, because one government comes and then implements something and the next one comes and ruins everything. That is creating instability, right? So critical thinking is important in order to uh, questioning the status quo. And developing critical thinking as a skill needs you to practice. It is regularly engaging in problem solving exercise, reading widely, exposing yourself. Only then you will know different perspectives. Talk to a lot of people, allow them to share, be willing to accept if there is any changes, ask questions, cultivate curiosity, and challenge assumptions, reflect and move on, analyze your thinking process and decisions. Critically thinking in problem solving also. Define the problem really well. Clearly articulate to the issue at hand. Not, illusionary, not imaginary. Realistic problem. Get to the feet. Get to the ground. Gather information. Collect relevant data and perspectives. Generate solutions. Brainstorm multiple perspectives. Multiple approach to solve the problem. Evaluate and implement it. And then the communication is very critical, right? Very important in spouse relationship and parenting, within team, for a leader to communicate, to be able to communicate, cascade to the to his legacies, to their successions. So active listening will definitely help, person to person, team to team, one to many. So paying attention to other perspectives and ask clarifying questions, not to degrade somebody. It is to learn. It is out of curiosity. It is to bring a win-win solutions. It is out of concern, consideration, clear expression. Articulate your thoughts logically and concisely also. It's equally important. Constructive feedback. Offer and receive feedback with an open mind, because we are constant. Everything is constantly changing, and there is no rigidity in place. There has to be adaptability, which should be the next one to emotional intelligence, because that is a key in emotional intelligence also. If you're very rigid, then you're going to be staying at the same status and there is no upgrade, then people around you gets difficult. uh, the life around you is not peaceful, and even within you, you will not be peaceful, because everything is changing. Before pandemic, world was different, and after pandemic, world is not going back to the same thing. It's gone way ahead. People who are stuck in the same old system of offline, they will still be there. If you're not adapting to online, you're already gone. You're not there in the market only. If you're an entrepreneur, it is important to adapt to the technology. You just cannot say, I'm an old person, I am not ready to learn all that, or I am very conventional person, I don't want to come near camera and all that. It's okay, you can still not come near camera, but you have to learn all this. If you are in market, in right now, fast-paced market, social media era, it is important to have your presence in social media as well. If you are in business, and it's not so for stay-at-home mom or a working profession, it's not yet needed, but your company has to get adapted. You as a team member has to adapt, right? Even children, right now they are in Zoom calls. Right now the laptops have come to school, so they got to adapt. And so it is with the parents. Critical thinking in leadership, strategic planning, analyzing trends and making informed long-term decisions. Team development, fostering critical thinking skills in team members also. Give them training, give them enough resources for them to be able to exercise these skills. So when there is a setback, when there is a project deadline, or very pressing situations, that time if you expect the team member to act superhuman, it's not going to be possible. So that is why, as HR, I when I was with the companies, two big brands, we used to work elaborately on the training and placements. So constant training and development will always be there as part of the company policies. And crisis management, staying calm and logical when facing unexpected challenge. That can only be possible when they have been working on themselves. The company needs to train the employees to be able to work calm at the pressing situations. The leadership has to demonstrate the agility at the same time, their composure during such times, setbacks, because employees look at them for, they model them. At the same time, family, imagine a parent behaving weird during setbacks, or an elder person in the family, they behave crazy during any, pressing situations. Imagine what kind of children are we breeding, what kind of future generations are we breeding. Critical thinking in personal growth is also equally important. Goal setting. You just cannot keep on leading, learning, buying courses after courses, and, just waste your time. There has to be a goal for you. Life just cannot go just because you're working in a company, you're just getting the salary at the end of the month, and just, the company will take care of your goal setting and all that. For personally, you need to have vision in your life. Only then there's no word called retirement. Only then people get motivated to keep doing what they can. The moment the retirement feeling kicks in, it can be irrespective of any age. Right now, it is happening even more faster because that much is, very demanding and very fast paced nowadays. Even young age people, they feel very less agile. They droop down in life and bog down because partially they're physically not fit, mentally they're not resilient, emotional well-being is hit. They're not able to smartly manage their emotions. Ultimately they just, the productivity, the focus is not there, their brain is not allowing because social media is, you know taking over their day, their break time, their relationship. There's no connection. Only on social media there is a lot of connection, but in real time there's a dearth of connection, there's a dearth of depth of relationship. So all these will take a toll. At that point of time, it is very important to have a goal and then work towards that vision. Do a self assessment constantly. This kind of education series will help you think through. At the end of this episode, if you're still stuck, listening to this, I will give you a freebie of awareness quiz, where for each skill like this, there is an awareness quiz for you. So you can take a questionnaire to answer. There'll be a lot of tricky options. It'll help you think at your feet and see for yourself whether you already have the skill or there's a way of improving that. And if you need to learn, you go back to this episode, watch this as many as times that you want before I take this all these courses down after 100 days. After 100 days, it will be taken down and put it as a particular bundle in my community space. But until such time, it's available free of cost for you. Make use of it and continuous learning. And that is why I said 100 days. 100 days is good enough for somebody to pick up some skills, right? Now, overcoming barriers to critical thinking. There could be some barriers also for somebody who is not able to exercise a skill. It could be that they were not able to recognize the biases. Identifying and challenging your own preconceptions is important. If they are in a blind spot, if they think they are always right, they are not able to listen to other people, they say, okay, maybe she doesn't know, maybe he doesn't know, I know I'm right, maybe they are jealous of me, I know that I'm doing right. All these are biases, personal biases. These are just examples. The quiz will give you more detail about it. And then manage emotions. Learn to separate feelings from facts when making decisions. You got to see the problem as a real problem, not swayed by your own emotions or others' emotions. You're not doing it just for the sake of others. You will also have to consider you, but it has to be win-win. You will have to consider a lot of other components also, for which you need to be on the ground, staying, stable. Only then you can see the real problem as real problem. You'll have to come out of the problem and see it as a, third person. So in the previous episodes, we have discussed all that strategically. So go through that. Embrace uncertainty also. Setbacks after setbacks. You should have a contingency. And how do you, bounce back like a pro? I've done that episode itself on the day two. Seeking diverse opinions. Actively look for perspectives that differ from your own. Challenge that. Don't just settle with your own assumptions. If it's 3 months that you're doing something, it's time for you to take a review. If it is 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, definitely you need to change because it's like every year the market is becoming dynamic. Measuring critical thinking progress. In just in few, this is going to be in few minutes, we're going to be done with this. But then, how do you measure that you're actually progressing in critical thinking? Let's go with the skill wise, okay? If you're an analysis, basic, thorough, and then comprehensive. So when you're analyzing, are you doing the basic ones, or you're doing the thorough ones, or you're doing a comprehensive thing using tools and apps? You're an automation person, so maybe critical thinking for that, you open an Excel sheet or something like that. But remember, the bubble should not go extreme. You should not be dwelling on it more to ease your process, to ease your problem, the ability to take decision. Maybe you can use a lot of tools, anything for that matter, but don't dwell on it more. Problem solving. When it comes to problem solving, are you a simplifying person? Complex persons. So, are you a person who can solve the complex problems, or are you even a person who can innovatively find a solution, taking into consideration of technology, market, company policies, many things in your team? So, are you a person who can really innovate something? Or you're just a person who just solves the problem on your surface, on the table? Or you're monitoring yourself to, break down the complexities of problems. So that means people approach you for problem solving. So that way you can measure. So when it comes to decision making, are you a person who takes reactive, impulsive decisions? Or you take a considered decisions, informed decisions? Or are you a person strategically driven, who can really consider everything, and then you're like a high stake holders, who at that company level, who's responsible for that financial status, that level of money, cash flow, or that level of people that you're handling. You're responsible for a lot of things. uh, Take an example of president of any country, prime minister of any country, how much of responsibility that they have. Any one small decision goes wrong, it has a huge impact on the entire nation. So imagine what amount of perspectives they will have, what amount of brainstorming they have to do under their ministries, what amount of management they have to have. So all this critical thinking is key element for somebody to be on the decision making side. And don't just think it is only needed for prime minister level. It is needed for our own life every day in and day out, like mom, like me and you, dad, like people, dads who are breadwinner for the family, or who are stay at home dad who's taking care of the child. It's equally important. And even for a child, for that matter, why would we ignore that? Maybe the child doesn't have to go to that level of intermediate and advanced, but basic problem solving is needed for every, even the child. The child will also be able to critically think whether it's a small problem, big problem, whether it is, the chocolate for now or for later. If the TV is not shown, should I even cry now, or can I just self control? When they are outside, they may be using all this critical thinking, but when they are inside the home, maybe they are just relaxed so they can just lose themselves out. But when they are outside, they do use this critical thinking in their own level of capacity. And then finally, applying critical thinking daily is also important. Media consumption, evaluate news sources and question that information. Don't just take every information given. It's equally important right now in the social media era. Overloaded information is overloaded. Test the credibility, test the source, ask question. Consumer choices, make informed decisions about purchases, especially purchases. Self-reflection, analyze your own thoughts and behaviors. Do a self-checking on your intentions also. What on whatever you're doing. Let it be an intentional talk, let it be an intentional decision, let it be an intentional movement. Even when you move, you move with such intentions. You talk that conversation, let it be intentional, not just to god. Of course, gossip went out and all that is okay, but not every time you do that. And when you're dealing with somebody, let it be an intentional one. All right, so if you want to dwell more on this, I would invite you to join my EQ Brain Skills workshop. It's exclusive for women. It happens only once in 1 or 2 months. I'm going to be sharing that invite in the link below. Okay. So whenever it's showing up and whenever you're watching this, reserve that. Jump in, register now. And the moment the brain skill workshops dates are given, you will get a notification. So register now if you are a woman, busy mom. It is exclusively for you, so you can activate your left brain and right brain skills right there with one pager reporter. This is not a masterclass, but this is an extensive workshop for women. So this will help you to dwell on your skills that we have been talking about. A lot of skills that we will be talking in 100 days. You can really test and take a report to see whether it is existing in you or not. It'll be interesting one. And top of it, you will win um, another freebie that you can make use of it. That I'm offering 21 days challenge for moms to build resilient skills. So the link is given. I don't have to say much about it. Go through that link. There are moms who have gone through this program, who have experienced or shared their views. If you're a person who is thinking through to build resilience, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, in action, I'll be there to guide you. It's fun. You will get a gift at the end of 21 days, but it's action oriented. And if you want to just lay back and consume some good resources, good learning sessions, watch YouTube, subscribe to this channel so that you'll get notified whenever I'm going live. You can participate on live. I'll give you a shout out if you're coming on live and giving me a comment. Only then I can know who's watching me. And top of it, awareness quiz bundles are there, but it is for cost. It's out there public for cost. But if you've been watching this episode till the end, that really means you're serious about something. All you have to do is just showcase your top 3 learnings as comments. Then you will see this bundle is opening up free of cost for you because I'm going to be sharing a 100% free coupon to you. I'll pick up the winner and I'll share the 100% free coupon to you. So you can open the quiz bundles and you just type your answers, see your scores, and a personalized summary will be sent to your email. It'll not be disclosed to anybody, not even to me. So you can see that summary, improve that area, wherever you want to improve. And then if it is already strength, be happy about it and leverage that. And in case you have any doubts, you can also ask me. So that'll be free coaching tips that I can offer to you because if you have been watching this, you're serious and that really means to me. Also subscribe to my Spotify podcast so you can listen on the go. It's a very shorter version of this topic, but this is an elaborate version where we have been dwelling on it wider and deeper. Like this, we have so many other days, future days are waiting. We're just on day 13. Okay. Until I meet you tomorrow with a new skill, stay strong, stay resilient, and stay EQ'd.